Well, shalom and welcome to the BeritHadasah, otherwise known as the New Testament. We're reading in the book of Matthew, and we are at chapter 14. So let's enjoy ourselves with the reading of Matthew, starting in chapter 14, verse 1. I hope you get blessed. Matthew 14:1. At the time Herodes, the district ruler, heard the report about Yeshua and said to his servants, "This is Yohanan the Immerser. He has risen from the dead, and that is why these mighty powers are at work in him." For Herodes had arrested Yohanan, bound him, and put him in prison because of Herodes, his brother Philip's wife. For Yohanan had said to him, "It is not right for you to have her." And wanting to kill him, he feared the crowd, because they held him as a Nabbi. But as Herodes' birthday was being held, the daughter of Herodes danced before them and pleased Herodes. So he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. And she, being urged on by her mother, said, "Give me here the head of Yohanan the Immerser on a dish." And the servant was sad. But because of the oath and the guests, he commanded it to be given. 10. And sent and beheaded Yohanan in prison, and his head was brought on a dish and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his Talmudim came and took away the body and buried it, and went and reported to Yeshua. Now when Yeshua heard it, he withdrew from there by boat to a deserted place by himself, and when the crowd heard it, they followed him on foot from the cities. And when Yeshua came out, he saw a large crowd and was moved with compassion for them, and he healed their sick. And when evening came, his Talmudim spoke to him, saying, "This is a deserted place, and the hour has already late. Dismiss the crowd so that they might go into the village and buy food for themselves." But Yeshua said to them, "They do not need to go away. Give them to eat yourselves." And they said to him, "We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he said, "Bring them here to me." And commanding the guards to sit down on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and looking up to the Shemayim, he broke and gave the loaves to the Talmudim, and the Talmudim gave to the crowds. And all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up the pieces left over, 12 baskets filled. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And immediately Yeshua made his Talmudim enter into a boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And having dismissed the crowds, he went up to the mountain by himself to pray. And when evening had come, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, agitated by the waves, for the wind was against it. 25. And in the 4th watch of the night, Yeshua went to them, walking on the sea. And when the Talmudim saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a phantom." And from fear they cried. But immediately Yeshua spoke to them, saying, "Take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Kepha answered him and said, "Adonai, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water? And he said, come. And when Keva had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yeshua. But when he saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Adonai, save me! And immediately Yeshua stretched out his hand and took hold of him, and said to him, O you of little belief, why do you doubt? And when they come into the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat came and bowed to him, saying, Truly, you are the Ben of Yahweh. And answering and having passed over, they come to the land of Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all the surrounding countries and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him to let them only touch the seams of his garment, and as many as touched it were completely healed. Chapter 15, verse 1. Then there came to Yeshua scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem, saying, Why do your Talmudim transgress the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread. But he answering said to them, Why do you also transgress the command of Elohim because of your tradition? For Elohim has commanded, saying, Respect your father and your mother, and he who curses father and mother, let him be put to death. But you say, whoever says to his father or mother, Whatever profit you might have received for me has been dedicated, is certainly released from respecting his father and mother. So you have nullified the command of Elohim by your tradition. Hypocrites, Yeshua, Yahu, rightly Nabu, about you, saying, These people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain do they worship me, teaching as commands of men, and calling the crowd near. He said to them, Hear and understand. Not that which goes into the mouth defiles the mouth, but that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles the man. Then his Talmudim came and said to him, Do you know that the Pharisees stumbled when they heard these words? But he answered and said, Every plant which my Father of the Shemayim has not planted shall be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind leads the blind, both shall fall into the ditch. And Keva answered, saying to him, Explain the parable to us. 16. And Yeshua said, Are you also still without understanding? Do you not understand that whatever enters into the mouth goes into the stomach and is cast out in the sewer? But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart come forth wicked reasonings, murders, adulteries, whorings, thefts, false witnesses, slanderers. These defile the man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man. And Yeshua went out from there and withdrew to the parts of Zor and Sidon. 22. And see, a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, Have compassion on me, O Adonai, Ben David. My daughter is badly demon-possessed. But he did not answer her a word. And his Talmudim came and asked him, saying, Send her away, because she cries after us. And he answering said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and was bowing to him, saying, Adonai, help me. And he answering said, It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs. But she said, Yes, Adonai, for even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from the master's table. And Yahweh answering said to her, O woman, your belief is great. Let all be to you as you desire. And her daughter was healed from that hour on. 29. And moving from there, Yeshua came towards the Sea of Galilee, and going up on the mountain, he was sitting there. Large crowds came to him, having with them those who were lame, blind, dumb, crippled, and many others, and they laid them down at the feet of Yeshua, and he healed them. So that the crowd marveled when they saw the dumb speaking, the crippled well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they praised the Elohim of Israel. 32. And Yeshua, having called his Talmudim near, said, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have now continued with me 3 days, and do not have whatever to eat. And I do not want to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. And the Talmudim said to him, Where are we to get enough bread in the desert to satisfy such a large crowd? 34. And Yeshua said to them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground. And taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke them and gave them to his Talmudim, and the Talmudim to the crowd. And all ate and were satisfied, and they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 7 large baskets filled. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And dismissed the crowd, he went into a boat and came to the border of Magdala. Chapter 16, 1. And the Pharisees and Sadducees came, and trying him, asked that he would show them a sign from the Shemayim. And he answered and said to them, When is it evening, you say, fair weather, for the Shemayim is red, and in the morning stormy weather today, for the Shemayim is red and overcast. You hypocrites know how to discern the face of the Shemayim, but not the sign of the times. The wicked and adulterous generation seek after a sign, and no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the nabbing Jonah. And he left them and went away. 5. And the Talmudim came to the other side, and had forgotten to take bread. And Yeshua said to them, Mind and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, Because we brought no bread. But Yeshua, aware of this, said to them, O of little belief? Why do you reason among yourselves because you brought no bread? Do you still not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and the and how many baskets you picked up? Or the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many large baskets you picked up? How is it that you do not understand that I do not speak to you concerning bread, but to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they understood that he did not say to beware of the Then they understood that he did not say to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. 13. Now when Yeshua came into the parts of the Caesarea Philippus, he asked his Talmudim, saying, Who do men say the Ben of Adam is? And they said, Some, Yohanan the Immerser, and others, Eliyahu, and others, Yirmiyahu, or one of the Nevi'im. He said to them, And you, who do you say I am? And Shimon, Kiva, answering said, You are the Hamashiach, the Ben of the living Elohim. And Yeshua answering said to him, Baruch are you, Shimon, by Yonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but the Father in the Shemayim. And I also say to you that you are keeper, and on this rock I will build my assembly, and the grass of the grave shall not overcome it. And I shall give you the keys to the reign of the Shemayim, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound on earth, having been bound in Shemayim, and whatever you loose on earth shall be, having been loosened in the Shemayim. Then he warned the Talmudim that they should say to no one that he was Yeshua HaMashiach. 21. From that time on, Yeshua began to show to his Talmudim that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem and to suffer much from the elders and chief Kohanim and scribes, and be killed, and to be raised again the 3rd day. And Kepha took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Be kind to yourself, Adonai, this shall not be to you. But he turned and said to Kepha, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for your thoughts are not those of Elohim, but those of men. Then Yeshua said to his Talmudim, If anyone wants to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whosoever wants to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. 26. For what is a man profit if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his life? But the Ben of Adam is going to come in the esteem of his Father with his messengers, and then he shall reward each according to his work. 28. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste death at all until they see the Ben of Adam coming in his reign. May God richly bless the reading of his word. May Yahweh shine his light upon your path. May he fill you with his truth and righteousness. and fill you with His shalom. In Yeshua's name, amen. Till next week, shalom.